So what do we have here? A heavily delayed but much anticipated model that has the potential to be quite good, but also comes with one disappointment and one major concern. And what that all is about, well, we'll find out after the drop. With that, hello and welcome to a new episode of Review, where we today will take a closer look at an Airbus A330-800NEO of Kuwait Airways. And at the front of the box we have a cutout so we can get a glimpse of the aircraft model inside, and on top of the box we have the Kuwait Airways branding. The backside of the box unfortunately follows the dreadful box design of Herpa Wings, which means we have another cutout, but more importantly we have a box here that just does not protect my aircraft model. And here she is, the much anticipated Airbus A330-800NEO in the current standard livery of Kuwait Airways. This is not the first Airbus A330-800NEO of Herpa Wings. They have a few years ago already released one in the Airbus house colors, but it is the first Airbus A330-800NEO model from Herpa Wings in Scale 500 with an actual airline livery. And since I usually skip the house color models, this also means that this is the very first A330-800NEO model in my collection, so I'm very curious to see what Herpa has come up with. And as always, we start our tour around the aircraft model with a look at the tail section, where we on the vertical stabilizer have the Kuwait Airways color scheme, in which the Kuwait Airways branding is incorporated. On the fuselage we then have the full registration code of the aircraft, and on top of the fuselage we then find this lovely set dome that Herpa has added here, and they seem to have been working overall on their set domes because the sizes just seem much more realistic nowadays than they used to. And then towards the very tail of the aircraft we do also have a bit of detailing around the APU exhaust. At the front of the aircraft and across the fuselage we then have the writing of Kuwait, and next to that in a lighter blue color what I assume is the name of the airline in Arabic writing. Then of course we do also have the Kuwaiti flag, and underneath that, both in Arabic writing and in English writing, the name of the aircraft. The cockpit section itself doesn't offer us too many printed details. It actually only offers us the cockpit windows with the typical black Neo mask, and above that we find the last letter of the registration code. That is a bit disappointing, although the shape of the nose or the mold here is exceptionally good. When we then look at the engines, we can see we have the silver leading edge printed on, but no safety relevant markings. So the only thing we get here other than that is the Kuwait Airways color scheme and the Kuwait Airways branding. That, however, does look rather stunning on these engines, which, by the way, also when it comes to the physical detailing, look really well made from Herpa Wings, especially here when we look from the front, where we very nicely can see the engine fan blades. If we move on from the engines, we can also take a quick look at the wings, starting off with the top side, where we can see the different flap slats and spoilers have been carved out rather nicely, and we have some different shades of grey for additional detailing. Also, the underside of the wings offers us some more nice physical detailing, and we find the full registration code has been printed on once more. The A330-800NEO of course also has these lovely winglets or curved wingtips, which Herpa has pulled off rather well too. And from there we can move on to the main landing gear, where I actually think Herpa has done a little bit of a shoddy work. This could and should definitely look much nicer. However, the front landing gear does look rather well, except for the fact that we are, of course, missing some printed details. Another annoyance or irritation is when we look here at the belly of the aircraft, where Herpa has added the writing of Kuwait and then willfully destroyed it with a hole in the fuselage for a stand, which is not included with this aircraft model, making it completely pointless. And then last but not least, we do also have the doors to the cargo compartments printed on here at the back of the aircraft and here at the front of the aircraft. So there we have it, the Airbus A330-800NEO in the current standard livery of Kuwait Airways from Herpa Wings in scale 1 to 500. And what can we say about this aircraft model? Let's start with the disappointment, and that is the fact that the aircraft model does not come with any additional printed details. Now there is a reason for that, because originally the aircraft model was supposed to be released at around October 2020, but then ended up being delayed by over a year and didn't hit shelves until end of 2021. And since the 0304 batch of Herpa Wings in 2021, Herpa has announced that all models will come with additional printed details, so to say as a compensation for the ridiculous retail prices Herpa has introduced. Now, had this model actually been produced in 2022, I would say it is absolutely fair that it does not come with these additional printed details, but the model was delayed by so much that I can guarantee you that this aircraft model was produced in 2021, and therefore Herpa could and should have added these additional details, just like they ended up doing with the A350-900 of Aeroflot. But now let's talk about the concern I have with this aircraft model. Now usually I do praise the print quality of Herpa Wings because it usually is very, very good. And it is also on this aircraft model, but there is an issue that I for the very first time now have experienced myself, because until then I've only heard about it from other collectors. You see, when I took the aircraft model out of the blister for the very first time, it appeared that the print around the light blue Arabic writing hadn't dried, because when I touched it with my fingers it started to smudge, and if you look closely you can actually around the writing of Kuwait see a light blue smudge, and that comes from the Arabic writing. This is very concerning, because I shouldn't be able to remove prints just by touching the model. But let's hope that this is a one-off issue, because other than the main landing gear being a little bit crooked, I actually very much like this aircraft model. I think Herpa has done an excellent job with the mold, and overall the model looks fantastic. Okay, the livery does also very much help the model, but I actually think this is a great Herpa Wings model, and therefore, despite these few concerns I have, I would say it is worth having in one's collection. Now with that, we have reached the end of today's episode. If you have enjoyed this video, then don't forget to leave a like, that would be very much appreciated. And of course, if you are new around here, why not hit subscribe? That would be absolutely awesome. With that, I'd like to say thank you very much for watching. Hope to see you soon again. I'm checking out, and bye.